There we go. Howdy, howdy.
Hi, everyone.
Happy Friday. Welcome back, guys. And if you're new here, big welcome to you. Today we have a beautiful and very special guest, Dr. Kelly Ritter. So I want everyone to meet her. And let me ask you this introductory question, Dr. Ritter. Tell us a little bit about you, your expertise, and how did you find carnivore?
Well, hi. It's so good to be here. I'm really excited. So my background's in clinical mental health counseling, and I got sort of obsessed with the gut health, gut brain axis in probably like 2009-ish. And that is when my father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And so I got really interested in health. Yeah. It's usually a personal story. Yeah. And then I found carnivore. I went back to school for nutritional therapy, didn't learn it there. And then in 2020, decided to do a 30-day carnivore experiment, which was, 5 years ago. So been animal-based ever since. Like, you just don't look back.
Wow.
But I think even before I went carnivore, I was interviewing people. So my background I was in academia. I'm a qualitative researcher, so I get really geeked out at listening to people's stories. And so I was interviewing people specifically that had healed their chronic anxiety, depression, bipolar, so more of the mood disorders with nutrition. And they were almost all keto or carnivore. So it was too impressive to ignore.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. So you've been living a carnivore animal-based lifestyle for 5 years. What are some of the most major benefits that you have experienced?
Well, it was really quite remarkable, actually. So I think the mental clarity was the first thing that was really obvious to me. And I guess so I'm in the mental health profession almost 30 years. And to not know that, to be highly trained and not have that connect, not know that you can, by eating meat, have so much mental clarity, brain fog clears up. But then I also lost weight, which was really, I didn't hate that. That was kind of nice. It was a bonus. But then like skin rashes, like all kinds of skin issues that cleared up. What else cleared up for me? It was pretty remarkable, pretty early on.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, Dr. Ritter, as you know, this is a live stream, so I just want to share to everyone watching this live stream right now, and then, of course, people will watch the playback. For those who need help today and who would like some information regarding carnivore diet, today's theme will be more about anxiety and mental health, or we would love for it to really focus on that today. So if you guys have questions regarding carnivore, health, diet, but specifically mental health, please do ask away in the live chat, and we will be prioritizing those questions tonight. Raymond, I see you have a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do for Dr. Ritter because, I saw how I took a look at your YouTube a little earlier, and it's been on my mind a lot because I've seen some carnivores who do all the right things but can't seem to get results. And I really believe that has to do with stress and anxiety. Can you talk a little more about that gut-brain connection that could possibly impede, even if you have the perfect setting? Could it, and I don't know if that's the right answer, could it impede even healing at that point?
Yeah. So I get a lot of people who are doing all the right things and still having a lot of issues. And that's usually the people who do come to me, right? And it's almost always psycho-emotional, spiritual, social. There's that connection that there's something else that's going on. And the food is amazing. The food can clear up so much. But I think people often are overlooking some of the repressed emotional stuff and stress. I just don't think you can underestimate what stress can do to the body. So they're overlooking the stress. They're overlooking some psycho-emotional stuff that maybe is repressed or stuck. And it doesn't have to be big T traumas. It can be. But the traumatic experiences that we've had in our lives, sometimes we just, it just happens. You move on. You think you've moved on. You're gliding through life, and you're not actually gliding. You're kind of holding on to some of that. And so what can happen too is that people start healing, and they have a lot less inflammation because they're on a carnivore diet. So now their brain feels a lot better. Their nervous system feels a lot better. Now old crap, starts kind of bubbling up. Like the nervous system starts feeling relaxed enough for older stuff to come up. So it could be new stress that's, around toxic stress. It could be old stuff that is coming up just to ask to be looked at and healed.
Yes, I love that. I was actually wondering too, is it possible that, because we get so many people that come strictly for weight loss.
Oh yeah.
Is it possible to have that as a stressor itself?
Yeah, and you can have a lot of anxiety around trying to lose the weight, or if it's not coming off, especially if it's not coming off as quickly as you want it to, then people get really anxious and stressed. I get a lot. Obviously, anxiety recovery is my area of specialty. So I get people that come and they are so obsessed with checking their ketones, and they're checking 3 or 4 times a day. And I just tell them, please back off, because you really need to go based on how you feel, and you're stressing yourself out and you're increasing your anxiety when it's just not necessary. But yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah, we've noticed that too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Sorry, I don't want to hog everything, so let's let other people ask questions.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Dr. Ritter.
Yeah.
Loved that. So let's jump into the questions. If you don't mind putting the first one up, Todd, for us.
Absolutely. Here we go.
And again, for our newcomers who just hopped on, we are focusing on mental health, anxiety, stress management today with Dr. Kelly Ritter. So drop your questions. Go ahead.
Lindy's starring these, and I just realized that these aren't all mental health questions. So I'm just going to go through them. Do you want to get rid of the ones that aren't mental health questions?
Yes, I would like to prioritize mental health tonight. We don't, frequently get this opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So is there any benefit to taking, let me first answer that.
Sorry.
Is there any benefit to taking liquid cod liver oil, Dr. Ritter?
Well, yeah, I love cod, but I like eating cod livers. So, if you're not going to eat cod livers, it is beneficial to have cod liver oil.
Mm-hmm.
The question is always is it really quality? But I have found that most people have benefit. It's so good for the brain, and it's helpful in mental health, that if you're not going to eat a lot of organs and you're not going to eat the cod liver, then yes, it's probably worth trying it.
Fantastic. Raymond, what are your thoughts on cod liver oil?
I like the cod liver in the can, just like Dr. Ritter was saying. I know that people can't stand it, so I get it, and they take those capsule ones. I know my wife takes those capsule ones, so it's got I guess very high omega-3s and a lot of brain stuff, right, Dr. Ritter?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's very helpful. DHA is crucial for brain development. And so we know that, and it's connected to mental health in so many ways. And the best way to get that is through seafood. So, and cod liver oil, the cod livers, but the cod liver oil, it's got such a long history of helping us as humans that I think, I think it's worth using.
And it's carnivore.
Yeah, and it's carnivore. Yeah, you're not going off carnivore. Yeah.
Yes. Love it. Okay, so this is from VSP. Why do I get mania when trying to do carnivore diet? I am schizo, affect bipolar. Heard this is common for people with bipolar who try keto.
Mm. I have not heard about the mania because usually it actually helps my clients that have mania feel more balanced. But that is also the few folks that I have worked with on a carnivore diet with bipolar are really strict carnivore. So I don't know if you're keto, if you're using some plants and I don't know what could be happening there. But I have not worked with people that have mania when trying to do the carnivore diet. I'm trying to think of what would be happening around that. Do you guys have any?
I've had clients who's had major issues because early on, this is all early on.
Yeah, early.
What happened is when they always think that, okay, well, first of all, fats are great. Carnivore fats are great. I'm not saying that. But the thing is that a lot of them can't seem to adapt to absorbing the fat properly. So it ends up to be too high fat where they go. And that causes them to, mine specifically, it's not quite mania, but it'll get them to go into an easy sugar binge. Because for some reason, and they just can't think straight. So to me, that's kind of equal to mania. All I tell them is drop the fat to what you like until your body adapts and craves the fat. And then that seems to balance them out and seems to get them to get over their sugar binge or their little craziness for just going off, and they stable out. And then eventually they start wanting the fat, which is weird, right? So there is an adaptation to the fat that we have to respect. That's what I've noticed.
Right. That makes sense to me. And I'm also just thinking about from a mitochondrial perspective and the fat, that might just be, you got to go a little bit slower with the fat to become fat adapted. That makes sense. But also some people do better with higher protein. So you got to play with the fat and the protein. But
I love that you mentioned mitochondria. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No,
I love that you mentioned mitochondria because there's something that I found out, carnitine, which is high in red meats. Apparently, that allows the fats to be usable by the mitochondria. But most people are deficient in carnitine because they don't have much red meat, which that's where it's highest in. But there is a link between mitochondria and carnitine, which I was shocked. So when you mentioned mitochondria, I was like, I think that's where it's at. They just need to have the more red meat. But sorry, go on.
All roads lead back to mitochondria. I have found. So if you can help your mitochondria out, but also the fats. So healthy fats from animal sources are full of electrons, and our mitochondria move electrons through the body. So it's also possible that people might start having more energy. I'm not saying it's not mania, but when you start having more energy and you start feeling better, I wonder if you would, interpret that as more mania. I mean, I'm people know themselves, if you're in a manic state, but I do wonder if sometimes that might get misinterpreted if your energy is getting really, if your energy is really high and you feel really good. Yeah, I don't know.
Wow. Well, actually, if we do get a chance today, I would actually love to learn more about the quantum aspect of what you teach. I'm so curious about that. But if we have time, obviously, I want to prioritize the member questions here. But thank you for that. We'll keep going. This is Max. Do you experience anxiety/depression more so after cheat meals?
Yeah, most of my clients do. I certainly do. If I go too far off, on vacations or, any of that to sort of, but I also personally, just so you know, I'm in recovery from food addiction. So carnivore works beautifully for me personally, but a lot of my clients will experience a lot more anxiety when, so I mostly work with anxiety, but sometimes depression too, but absolutely it's very quick because some brains do not do well with carbohydrates. And so if you have a really sensitive system or a really sensitive brain, or you just have a ton of inflammation that you're trying to work with, then, then a cheat meal is going to increase your inflammation. You're going to have, it may not be a huge setback, but definitely my clients experience more anxiety when they have carbohydrates.
Right. Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm so sensitive that if I have even some black pepper, it affects me. Maybe not as profound mentally as physically, but I talk about this with Todd all the time: runny nose, drippy nose, congestion, So we do
Digestion. Too. Like it really
sure.
will mess with people's digestion.
Absolutely. Would love to hear from everyone on this great question in the chat box. Let us know when you guys have cheat meals or when you go off plan a little bit, even with spices. Do you feel the effects, especially mentally? Share that.
Actually, I want to add on this one. So, I like to think of it as I'm sabotaging myself because before I go into it, because when I go, I don't really cheat, but I do have spices and sauces when I go out to eat, which triggers me, which I'm like, okay, how important is this to go out and do that? Because I know it's going to cost me 3 to 5 days of these anxiety or depression. So then that makes me think, okay, well, you know what? It's my kid's birthday. Okay, but you know what? That's worth it, So it just depends on how I look at it, right? Am I willing to go through that lower quality of life because of that, because of the events? But some events I do allow it.
Yep. All right. Great. Let's keep going. This is Jennifer. How much can it help with female adult ADHD and adult male with Asperger's?
Carnivore is fantastic for both of those issues. Yeah, and there's a lot with ADHD. Well, and with Asperger's or autism spectrum in general that you can do that's not just the food. Like I like to remind people that sunlight is a nutrient. And so there's a lot of other things. And with ADHD, you will get ADHD like symptoms or what you think of as criteria for ADHD with some of the environmental toxins too, like anything with phthalates in it. So all the scented stuff, scented candles and all that. So the food piece really manages things, but you also want to take a look at what's going on in your environment. And then the quantum health strategies, when you layer that in with the carnivore diet, I see it completely reversed in terms of ADHD. And then all of the people that I've worked with on the spectrum, it improves anxiety a great deal for people who ruminate and have get really anxious that are on the spectrum. So it can make a huge difference.
That's fantastic. All right, let's keep going. Okay, Sherry, I have bipolar disorder. I started carnivore 6 days and no longer take my meds. I'm hoping this will help. Any thoughts?
Well, first, I think hopefully, Sherry, congratulations on starting carnivore. I think that's amazing. But also, I just want to make sure that people are tapering their meds in a thoughtful way. I'm sure that you're working with your prescribing professional, whoever prescribes the medications. But I just want to say, since it came up, it's not a good idea to go cold turkey off your meds because you start feeling so much better. But you do want to make sure that you have appointments lined up with your prescribing practitioner, because you can heal really quickly when you go on a carnivore diet. And then you're going to want to monitor the medications. So I hope that it helps you. I imagine that it will be a huge help, but just make sure that you're taking good care of yourself and you're, tapering your medications.
Thank you for saying that. That's very important. Yes. Don't get too excited, guys. Like, just because you're starting to feel better mentally and also physically doesn't mean that you just completely take out the meds cold turkey. So listen to Dr. Ritter.
Yeah.
All right, Nav, welcome. How do I make bone broth? The instructions to make broth online have non-carnivore ingredients like vegetables and more. So I wanted to make a pure carnivore broth. Do you make one?
Of course. And you just don't put the veggies in it. You throw the bones in the water and you just do that. And then, I like to roast my bones for the bone marrow, but you don't have to roast them. So you just make the recipe without the plants.
Fantastic. And Todd, how do you make your carnivore broths?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just either put it in the slow pot or I put it in a pressure cooker, and just bones and salt. And if I'm feeling really crazy after talking to Dr. Leslie Keith, I put some apple cider vinegar in it, being for a little flavor, because it's just a short chain fatty acid. So
yep, that's it.
So the bone marrow. My gosh, if you guys can make bone marrow bone broth, that is the most luxurious broth that you could possibly make. And roasting it, like Dr. Ritter shared, that just is already making me drool. But how I make my broth, and it's the easiest, most laziest way, is I throw a bunch of chicken party wings with the meat on in my Instant Pot. And then I cover it with just enough water, and that meat on the bone gives it this rich chicken flavor. The bones literally dissolve. So I'm basically eating all of the bones and all the calcium in there. And I just enjoy the meat as a chicken bone broth soup. And I pressure cook on my Instant Pot for 50 minutes on high, let the pressure naturally release, and done. So that's a super easy way.
You know what I was thinking? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask a follow up. You talked about the bone marrow bone broth.
Yeah.
What is that? I never even heard of that. What do you mean?
I just use the beef bones with the bone marrow.
Oh, okay. I thought you took out the bone marrow and then broth that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I just throw it all in there together, but I roast it because I just like the flavor of it a little bit better. But
I was watching a guy. Somebody, I think it was Alyssa, sent me a video on this cut of meat that I ordered the other day, but he did something cool. He was making homemade chimichurri, which that's beside the point, but it's an oil base. But he did something really cool. He took a jar of chimichurri oil base, and he took coals of wood and charcoal, and he actually put it in the oil and put the lid on it. What happened is that smoked the oil and smoked the chimichurri, so that it had a smoky flavor, and he let it smoke inside the jar, boiled and smoked. When he took it off, it gave it a barbecue char smoke flavor. And so I was like, I was actually thinking, man, you could start doing that with broths, and you could start doing it with collagen, like collagen broths and stuff to make smoked chili flavor,
Yeah.
It'd be fantastic, I bet.
Oh, good. That is so genius.
It was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Hi, Jeffrey. Welcome back. Home health psych RN, currently working with bipolar son of a wound care patient, seen 2 times weekly. Son is hypomanic and open to my carnivore advice, but difficulty focusing, not ready to commit. Do you have any advice?
Yeah. Pretty normal process when you're working, especially, I don't know the age of the son, but it's difficult for people. You have to let people go at their own pace and be supportive. What I have found is that the more supportive you are and you're available to kind of role model and just let them go through their process, the more able they are to get focused. Especially if this person is open, that's really amazing. So you just get them to take the smallest, tiniest little step that they can, and then keep encouraging that. Because if there's any sense that you're pulling, pushing,
Forcing, yeah,
forcing, it's kind of like when you try to get a kid to go off the diving board. It's just, you're not going to go till you're ready to go, even when you have a lot of people cheering you on. So just being really patient. I have found to be really patient, go the tiniest little thing that the person is willing to do, is start there and just kind of build and then be patient. Yeah.
I love that. Raymond, have you worked with any clients with a situation similar to this, and any advice?
Not younger son, and definitely not bipolar. But I have worked with a lot of bipolar folks. But yeah. And
do you have any tips regarding that?
Yes, actually, carnivore pizza. Nelson.
Wow.
There's a lot of stuff that you have, Bella, on yours. That's just fun foods. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about kids, like my son. He even told me this. He's like, I would eat it if it's in front of me. I'm like, as long as when he shows up and he's hungry, he'll eat anything.
Yeah.
So you just got to find that little strategy. It's a pain because you're kind of like, okay, he's coming home from school. I need to have it there. Like I had burger patties for him for right when he got home from school. And that was it. He ate it. It's like I could have I had filet mignon the other day, right after he got home from school. Ate it all up. So that's a strategy. But what happens at school? That's the other problem, right?
Yes, that's true. Great points. Now, before we get to Nav, let me just thank you, Nav, for that question. Let me just put this up real quick because a lot of people are noticing. So we have a new baby in the steak and butter family, and I just want to formally introduce him to my live stream family. His name's Aspen, and we named him Aspen because Max and I, my husband and I, have so many great memories in Aspen because we would go there for summer school as pianists. So when we're studying piano, we would always go to Aspen during summer to perform concerts, keep studying the craft. And so we have these fond memories of Aspen, and it's snowy there,
Mm-hmm.
And this little boy is Aspen.
So cute.
And how old is he, Bella?
He is 3.5 months now. Yeah.
Cute little fella.
So cute.
Mm-hmm.
Puppy stage. That's like a little baby.
Such a good boy.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nav says, Bella, please make a video on making broth. Okay, I can absolutely do that. I'm new to cooking, cannot cook for my life. I need detailed resources on how to make it and where to find bones. Wow. Okay, that's a very special request, and I will make a video on bone broth, and I'm also going to make it like Dr. Ritter makes it. So I'll do my chicken one and then the bone marrow one. And Todd, if you want to teach me how to smoke it, I'll include that too.
For sure, that'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome. Dang.
Yes. Thank you, Nav. Okay, Kevin.
Yeah.
Ooh. Do vivid dreams fit under the mental health umbrella? I had a super chat last week about dreams, and I wanted to see Kelly's take.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely vivid dreams fall under mental health, sleep in general. And vivid dreams are actually a sign of good mental health, usually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the opposite, people don't remember their dreams. It's usually it's not necessarily a sign of mental illness, but it is a sign that they're not getting enough B6 vitamin. So, which is interesting. B6 deficiencies, sometimes zinc deficiencies can lead to not remembering your dreams. So if you have vivid dreams, you're probably getting enough B6 and zinc and the nutrients that you need. So that's,
Well, I'm glad you said that because I used to not dream for about 20, 25 years. Literally no dreams. So I could say I don't remember my dream. No, I did not dream. It was just black. When I started carnivore again, and I remember dreaming as a kid, I dreamed a lot, right? And when I became carnivore, I started getting dreams that I could remember. So I'm glad you said that, and very vivid ones here and there. I love the vivid ones, but those were kind of spotting in and out. So absolutely, you're right. I think that has something to do with mental health and healing, hopefully, but I'm glad you said that, Dr. Ritter.
And absorbing those nutrients. And Wait, we had another question. So it's okay. I can move on. Because
Don't
I
worry.
can keep talking about those kinds of things. I just think about dreams as also like they're gifts from the unconscious. So even if they're freaky and they're freaking you out, it's better if you just look at them as gifts from the unconscious. But that's just
wow.
I
another
love
whole
that. I love that. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even with nightmares. That's what you're saying. Yes, of course.
Yeah, even if it appears to be a nightmare, it's
Right.
not taking it literally, but understanding that there's something that's trying to come up to be learned or healed through the unconscious. So,
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
So that's so fascinating. Now, I do have a follow-up before we get to Nav. So let's
Okay.
say so what about the saying where like you sleep so deep that you don't dream or you don't remember your dreams, and that's supposed to be a good thing? What are your thoughts on that?
When you go into deep sleep, so there's some conflicting information in the research that, there were, I'm trying to think of Dr. Pfeiffer's first name in the 1980s. They did a lot with nutrients like molecular science and mental health. And so they're really the ones that pioneered the whole nutrients and dreaming. So having dreams, they would dose to dream recall. And so I tend to lean towards that of like just thinking that that's helpful and important. But I also am a big fan of delta waves. And delta waves are the slowest brain waves that we have, and what's restorative when we're in deep sleep. So it's possible that your body is, if you're really stressed, your body actually needs that deep rest and you're just not remembering the dreams, but you might actually be dreaming. You're just not recalling them.
Okay. And is there cycles that you go through in sleep? A certain cycle you have to kind of meet to feel refreshed? I don't know.
Everybody's a little bit different. So, and I'm not an expert in sleep, but I do find it quite fascinating, especially when sleep changes for people, because often people with a lot of chronic anxiety, depression, mental health issues will not have dreams, will not remember their dreams, or will have night terrors, which is a sign of low serotonin. So that's when I start to bring in all of the quantum health strategies, and we might do some other things. But yes, we each have cycles every night to our to our sleep. And there's rest and repair, REM, and the different brain waves. And delta waves are when we're in the deepest sleep. So,
Okay. We'll table that for now, but very fast.
Table that.
Yes. Nav wants to know best cheese, preferably sliced, or I can slice myself. Where do I get it to put on patties? Let's just go around the table and share what our favorite cheeses are. Mine is the raw Gruyere from Costco. What's yours, Kelly?
I had to give up dairy, but I love cheese so much. I would take any cheese from anywhere, but raw dairy is going to be the best.
Yes.
That you can get. Wherever you can get raw, get raw.
That's right. Raymond?
I know it's going to sound strange because I used to be a very cheese lover, but now I'm like all about yogurt. I can't stand the side of cheese as much, so I don't know why. It's weird.
Oh,
so I'm just through one of those cycles. Phases, exactly.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. But what I used to like is that English cheddar from Costco. So
nice. English
Costco.
cheddar.
Yeah.
Todd?
I don't do dairy, but when I do, because I don't moderate dairy, but when I do, or if I wanted to, my favorite go-to is actually a super aged, like extra aged white cheddar and horseradish cheese that they make locally here that I really like.
Nice.
But yeah, I will eat my weight in that and then regret all my life decisions. So
yeah, because you can't help it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. But Todd, can I ask you if it changes your mood? Do you find that you're a little more irritable? Things that wouldn't normally bother you after you have dairy?
No, they really don't. So, I mean, what bothers me, and I've learned to understand it, what bothers me is that when the part of that bothers me is when I do something that I know that I'm not going to be able to moderate, then it makes me irritated that I sabotage myself that way.
The self-sabotage part of it. Okay.
Yeah. Which brings me on to some questions I definitely have for you. because I have a
Okay.
bunch. But I've been waiting because I've been trying to catch up. I didn't want to take up your time, but this is my favorite topic of carnivore because I went into carnivore for extreme weight issues. But what I did not understand about carnivore that completely surprised me was how suicidal depression, just crippling anxiety, and then like a super addictive personality and just a compulsive behavior that I had for my whole life, hard to control, completely melted away. I mean, completely gone.
Yeah.
And so I love to see what I'd like to know is what is the connection between anxiety, depression, diet, and addiction and compulsion, because they all seem to be very linked.
Big subject.
Yeah, this is a big, huge subject. And it is all linked, right? Because our nervous system and our immune system all inextricably connected. And then inflammation, I think what ties everything back together is the inflammation, which is mitochondrial health. I mean, it's all roads lead back to mitochondria. So I too, I'm not a moderator, and I've just had to accept that there are certain things. I'm just not a moderator. And I do think that we are a special breed. Our brains are really sensitive and creative and really quite amazing, but we have to make sure that we're not overloading our system and inflammation. We're not putting in things that create that inflammation.
Well, I got to tell you, this is something that's really been on my brain lately because I'm starting to not believe that. Here's what I'm not believing anymore. Okay. I don't believe that we're atypical by being not able to moderate. I don't like so this is what I've been thinking about, because depending on who you listen to, but if you're listening to Dr. Robert Lustig, he says 74% of the population is obese or overweight. And if you're listening to Ben Bickman, he says 88% of the population has metabolic disease because of food. And so this is something that I think about a lot because, I was 600 pounds when I was 14 years old. I spent my whole life trying to moderate, trying to do extreme diets, trying to calorie restrict to get on top of this. And, also, my dad was a diabetic, and this, poor diet killed him, killed my brother. I see all this stuff going on. Had a lot of friends commit suicide from diet and mental health stuff. And all those guys are clearly addicted to food, right? And so I'm just saying, if somewhere between 74% of the population and 88% of the population is addicted to addictive foods, and to the point that it's causing quality of life problems, and even, diabetics are getting legs chopped off and people are committing suicide, I think it's atypical to be able to moderate, not to be addicted to things that are designed to be addictive.
Right. No, I agree 100% with you. I think it is. I think it's normal to be addicted to these addictive substances. What I find is that those of us who are really more anxious, depressed, we tend to have, and I'm not really a big believer of brain-based, it's a brain-based issue, but I do find that we tend to be much more sensitive to what's going on around us. We tend to be the kind of people that really care about what's going on around us and have a harder time kind of just ignoring that. Like my husband just literally, crazy things can be happening around him. I don't know that he would even notice that. I notice everything. And that could be related to trauma. That could be from, just being more vigilant. So some of us are just a little more hyper vigilant, but I also think that some of us are designed we're perfectly designed to be more sensitive. But I agree with you that in terms of addiction, which I think is it's all connected, but I do think addiction is a different, I'm in recovery. I don't work with a lot of people in addiction. That's not my area of expertise, but I live it. And what I think is that there's so many things in our environment, in our food now, who's not addicted to something?
And then people say, "Are you a moderator or an abstainer?" And I'm like, I don't know who who moderates addictive foods. Who is that person? And if they exist, maybe you've been lucky with moderating it, so forth, but it doesn't mean I don't know that it doesn't mean that you're not going to go down the slippery slope, because only in food, I'm only 26 months or something into carnivore, but only in this world do you hear people go, I could say, look, I cured suicidal depression, crippling anxiety. I'm off home oxygen. I'm down 320 pounds. Congestive heart failure is gone. I could say all these things. And then when I tell them how I did it, the words that come out of their mouth is, well, I would do that, but I could never give up. X, Y, or Z. And I'm like, we would never say this if it was like anything else. Like, I wouldn't say, I would do that, but I could never not wear my favorite red shirt.
Oh, right.
You'd never say something like that. But it's completely normal with everybody to say that, and everybody can relate to it, because our food environment's changed to where our food is a drug, and it's purposely designed. That's why a Chick-fil-A sandwich has something like 700 chemicals in it, and it's purposely designed not to taste good, but to actually be hyper-palatable addictive. And so I think the reason why that's important to me is because for this whole time, for 26 years, I went and seen specialists and doctors, and they told me, yeah, you're atypical. You're an addict. You have eating disorders. You need to see a psychologist. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay. And I had gambling addictions, and I had caffeine addictions, and I had nicotine addictions, and I was super compulsive and all this crap. And in 3 weeks of eating meat, most all that started to melt away, and it was gone. And I'm like, what is this? And then I realized that was, because up until then I was super suicidal, because the message is you're a hopeless addict that once an addict, always an addict. So all you can do is manage it, which means you're going to have to use willpower restriction and be pretty miserable for the rest of your life. Right. And then you have to restrict, because the key to this is not eating meat, nourishing the body, like we obviously know now is the key to getting free, but it's to calorie restrict. And if you can't moderate and calorie restrict, because that's the normal thing, that's the typical thing, then you're broken, and you need to go see a psychologist, because a psychologist is going to tell you to work on your childhood trauma, and it's going to fix all these compulsive addictive. Anyhow, what a 26 years bullshit, to be honest with you, that didn't amount to nothing. And just in 3.5 weeks, it all went away. And so that's what now I realized that I don't know that it's super helpful. And this is where I really come down to it too, because I mean, I chewed 2 cans of Copenhagen Long Cut for 26 years. I never planned on quitting it. When I got to carnivore, my body told me, hey, you're quitting. You don't need nicotine anymore. And I quit a 26-year nicotine addiction without wanting to, and the need dropped away. I was one of the biggest gambling addicts you've ever seen. And I had that monkey on my back all the time, and I had to stay away from it. But it was a giant chore. When I turned carnivore, all that stuff went away. I lost my addictions to gambling, to nicotine, to caffeine, to sugar, to disordered eating. It all fell away. Right. And now I sit here and go, people tell me I'm still an addict because I was an addict, but I don't have a single compulsion to do any of those things anymore. And so I want to know what the real story is, because I'm not so sure. The old me from 26 years ago, when you told me that I was going to be an addict, not you, but I'm just saying, when the world told me that I was going to be an addict for forever, and that now I see that I don't feel like an addict, and people say, well, that's because if you couldn't gamble or you couldn't do these things and control it. And I'm like, that's the thing. I don't know that we were ever supposed to be able to do those things.
Control it. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I think these are really great questions. I'm inside these same questions, Todd. So I love the conversation. It's amazing. I mean, your story's amazing. And that's what drove me to carnivore. I was like, what in the world? And it really, for me, all the years in training that you do, and I kept saying, we're missing something in the counseling and the mental health field. Like, we're missing something. And it wasn't just about gut health, because it's not, I was already doing the paleo thing, and that's not curing anybody.
For sure.
It was sometimes helping people make progress, whatever that is, but not curing anything. And so this is really fascinating. But in my practice, I've seen that even the people who consider themselves moderators, like they don't seem to have all of the addictive issues, there are certain things that they don't moderate well.
Right.
And all of us that consider ourselves abstainers because we don't moderate certain things, we moderate certain things just fine. So, and when you heal, this is my question too. If you heal to the point that you no longer even need all that stuff, like, are you still an addict? And does that even matter? And I don't even know that we need to call ourselves anything if we're healing. If it helps you, if you're like, I identify with that, that's how I am, that's great. It took me a long time to even be able to say that, and just be, kind of like own some of the crap that I have.
100%.
So I think there's something about, owning your stuff,
For sure.
but also not labeling yourself and being stuck there. I don't see any reason why we would ever be stuck.
Right. That's exactly why I think the distinction matters. Not because, like, if it's just semantics, then who cares, right? Call yourself an addict, don't call yourself an addict, who cares?
Right.
The reason why it mattered was for 26 years of my life, they were saying, no, you're going to have this for forever, which immediately gives you no light. It gives you no target to aim at to get better, no hope. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I always hated that. And that's why I sit here now, because there's, and I'm talking to myself for the first 39 years of my life when I was struggling through this. I didn't think that there was possibly a way out of this. And I had no idea that the diet, the diet could take you out of it. And I had no idea that these things crossed over. Like, how the heck did eating meat make me stop craving nicotine? How the heck did eating meat make me stop being compulsive and wanting to gamble? Like, there's some sort of self-medicating weird behavior. And for me, it felt like it all stemmed from anxiety. Anxiety was the worst part of all of it. And it just seemed like everything that I did was to try to make the anxiety noise calm down,
It sounds like maybe, do you think, Todd, it could be a nutritional deficiency that affects brain chemistry, therefore causes all these addictions?
I do.
Yeah.
I have a thing. I really think Dr. Ritter is right. All roads lead back to mitochondria.
Okay.
Here's the thing. So when your body, this is my theory. Okay. So our hypothesis.
Yes.
I'm geeking out on mitochondria also. So thank you for that. So this is the way I look at it. So we know insulin resistance causes where we get deficiencies, including with aminos. We're not getting proper aminos in because of insulin resistance. Now, here's the thing about aminos. There's certain strands of aminos, which are called peptides, that actually is needed in the mitochondria to make it function properly.
Oh, wow.
And that's where it's interesting. So it's not just an energy-based source, it's a certain amount of aminos. So now, how do you get rid of that? And why does carnivore do that? Well, it lowers insulin. So all of a sudden you're getting fed. So no matter what, if your insulin resistance is so high, your cells, your mitochondria are not getting fed the proper base amino acids, which is the building block that we all need. So I believe that your body calls out for these things like addictive substances, quick sugars, quick nicotine, stuffed uppers,
sugar, dopamine hits, all of that.
And all of that is because you're too low in these aminos, which aminos also create all of that. See, so to me, it all makes sense. All roads lead back to mitochondria, just like you said, Dr. Ritter. I really believe that now, because that's that energy substrate. With no energy, your body, your organs won't work properly, right?
Your mind won't work right.
Nothing works right. Right.
Yeah. And what's cool about the mitochondria, we won't go too far into it, but the mitochondria do much more. I can go on forever because this is my favorite area.
Wow.
But the mitochondria, what's interesting is that mitochondria, they are the source of our inflammation. So when the mitochondria don't have the right inputs, so yes, through food, so electrons, but through our food, through earthing, through all of these other ways, sunlight and oxygen. So if they don't have enough of the inputs, and the way we live our lives these days, being indoors with all of this lighting, like normally I would have my blue blockers by this point, it drains, it literally drains our energy. We are electric beings, and we have so much static and inflammation that we can't think straight. So of course your body is going to give you signs with anxiety, depression, what we label all these other, different labels. But actually your body is saying, I don't have the inputs to make the energy, to make water. Our mitochondria make the water inside of us, which is most of us is water. So it's just, so then you're cellularly dehydrated. And you won't be able to think straight.
This is exactly what I would love to learn about from you, Dr. Ritter. And maybe if you're open to it, we can have a second session of just discussing these things. So mitochondria, quantum health, light therapy, all of this, and just have a session on you educating us a little bit better on it. Thank you. I'm excited. I'll keep in touch after tonight's live stream, but let's prioritize our member questions here. I think it's stacking up, Todd.
For sure. Sorry. I knew that's why I waited. I was like, this is going to be a long conversation, but I love that conversation.
It's such a good convo. Yeah.
So PSS, I appreciate it, but I didn't, Lindy didn't find a question.
I see it actually.
Okay.
Literally right in front of my face. So I think we're just lucky today. So PS says, any preferred type of vitamin D to take for carnivore? I can only find one that's mixed with MCT oil or olive oil or cellulose fiber. I have to take D. Dr. Ritter.
Yeah. So the vitamin D that we take supplementally will never be the same vitamin D that we make. So if you have to take it, because vitamin D is so important, and I would argue that it acts more like a hormone. It's extremely important in your health. So if your vitamin D is super low that you have to take a supplement, then you take the one that feels like it works for your body. Everybody's a little different. I like the vitamin D with the K backer, but I don't really like for my clients to take vitamin D at all. I want them to make their vitamin D because the way that it's made in the body is just different from anything that you could take. So I understand if you have to take it, I would say it's kind of like cod. If you're not going to eat cod livers and you're not going to eat seafood, find your way to some DHA, find the way to the oil, whatever you have to do supplementally, because it's so helpful for the brain. Vitamin D is one of those too. But you need enough cholesterol and sunlight to make the vitamin D. And we are designed to adjust. We are capable of adjusting with the seasons, but we actually have to be outside a lot for us to be able to do that. And so even if you can't make vitamin D in the winter because you don't have ultraviolet light, UVB light outside wherever you live in the winter, you can store it up in the summer, but we are designed to have less vitamin D in the winter, in the cold. Okay. But then you can also increase the foods with vitamin D.
What are your thoughts on having those, you plug in the light for vitamin D? Do you believe in those? Yeah.
Yeah, because some people have to, right? So the Spurdy D lamps are worth it. If your vitamin D is really low, you live somewhere where it's really cold, you don't get the UVB all winter. It's that important that I would invest in a Spurdy D lamp. You can adjust. So you can get to the place. It's kind of like addiction, Todd. I feel like we get to a place when we heal so much that we don't need these biohacking tools, and we don't, but if you're feeling really depressed and anxious and your mental health is low and your vitamin D is low, you do whatever you have to do to get that up.
It's a good bridge.
I can bridge. Exactly. I can say with certainty that I needed a lot of things. I used to take tons of supplements. I used to take, I used to do the cod livers in the can, the yellow cod livers in the can. I used to take electrolytes and all that until I did Raymond's priming protocol, and I started eating 7 pounds of meat a day for about 6 months. And then everything else melted away. I didn't need any of it. Like, I don't need any supplementation. I finally filled that giant void and everything healed. It was crazy.
Oh, that's amazing. And I truly believe that you can't supplement your way out of a poor diet. But you got to do what you got to do till you can get there.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Great tips. And let me check on your time, Dr. Ritter. Do you need to go right on the hour tonight?
No, I'm okay. Yeah, I just, when you were like, I saw that sometimes these go for 3 hours. I was like,
yes,
so that's
I didn't want to scare you.
Bedtime. Mama's got to go to bed. So
we understand.
No, I don't have a hard stop.
All right. Well, feel free to, drop off anytime. We usually just go on whoever does stay anyways. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Great. Okay. So this is Professor Conservador. Try cabrito from Monterey. I'm guessing that's a cheese. Yes.
That sounds good. I don't know what it is, but it sounds
I don't know
good.
what it is. Nice try.
Send us some, Professor. Thank you. Skylon, could somebody on here explain the sensation of having a lot more energy while on carnivore versus a lot less energy on the traditional American diet? Thanks for all the great content, Bella. So very welcome. Let's start with Dr. Ritter.
Yeah, I think it has everything to do with you getting the right nutrients that your body can actually absorb. So that's a big piece of it. But we were talking about the mitochondria. So the mitochondria, you're feeding your body and your cells to make the neurotransmitters. The neurotransmitters are made from amino acids. The best source of that is meat, right? Animal sources of protein. So, and then you're also getting good fat, which is helping you make your hormones, helping you make vitamin D, all of those things. So you're going to have more energy because your mitochondria are going to be working better, which is how we make our main source of energy, ATP. But also you're going to have a lot less inflammation. So when your brain is less inflamed and your body's less inflamed, you're going to feel better and have more energy. So that's my take.
I have a question from that.
Sure.
So
For
I'm
me?
just enough to get, yes, for you. Sorry, Dr. Ritter. If you're okay with it. I'm just enough to get dangerous, okay? But when I read about mitochondria, apparently it is not a human. It's kind of like a synergistic host or something.
It's its own little organelle. Yeah, they used, so the theory is that they were organelles that lived and I don't know how many billions of years ago or whatever was consumed, because they're really good. These little organelles are great at taking whatever oxygen is available in the environment and making energy from that. And so it was Earth was really harsh environment. So that's the theory, is that they have their own DNA too.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting. But they are really important. So healthy mitochondria drive health, and dysfunctional mitochondria drive disease through inflammation.
Wow.
So
you would say that strongly, like the mitochondria itself, unhealthy ones will actually disease us?
Yes.
Wow.
And that's not even debatable. Like, that research is very clear. It's just hasn't really trickled down to the general public because there's no money to be made in how you fix the mitochondria. They really need you to just be in harmony with your natural environment and eating a human diet, like a proper human diet is,
part of that. Yes.
Part of that. Yeah.
Wow.
And I love that you mentioned earthing and grounding. So right on. Love it. Sorry.
The other free non-food things you can do. Yeah.
Fantastic. This is next up from Nav. Doc, I've been strict carnivore. I've even tried the lion diet for 9 months. I am doing it to heal IBS, fatigue, insomnia, and more. I have not seen any improvements in my health. Any advice?
Yeah. So it's unusual to not see any improvements with animal-based, but there are people that I would recommend that you do all the quantum health strategies in addition to eating the carnivore diet. So that that's a whole nother, it's a whole big thing, but it's mostly about getting sunlight, remembering that sunlight is a nutrient. So, and sunlight on our abdomen. So as much light as you can actually get on your skin. We have sensors on our skin. And there's some interesting research where the light from outside on our stomach area, on our abdomen, is diversifies our microbiome, so all those microbes in our gut, so that we could eat seasonally. It's how our body orients to time and place, because these little organelles, the mitochondria inside of our cells, they orient based on light and darkness and seasons and being outside and from the food that we eat, but mostly from being light and dark. So all of those pieces, if they're not in place, will create a situation where you're not having a lot of healing. But most people don't realize that gut health is as much about circadian rhythms, if not more, than the food. So IBS is mostly related to circadian rhythms. And so supporting your circadian rhythms is going to be key for healing your IBS. Perfect. And fatigue, insomnia, all of that.
Awesome. What is if you can just summarize the first best step to improving circadian rhythm, what would you say it would be?
Early morning light, hands down.
Early morning light, yep.
So, and I'm not modeling for y'all properly. Blocking light after sunset. But early morning light is the first step. It's really important to get out in early morning light. If people get really obsessed with this, and I'm not trying to increase your anxiety. I'm just saying that we set our the circadian clock in our brain gets set by that early morning light. So right around sunrise, if you can get outside, that's going to set the tone for your whole day. But there are many things that happen in that light, and you actually have to be exposed to the light in your eyes and on your skin for all of that cascade of things to happen. Like your melatonin is getting packed up for recycling. Serotonin is coming on board. Cortisol is rising naturally, and you want that because cortisol is your get up and go hormone. You just don't want a ton of cortisol in the evenings when it is not helpful, because it's an inverse relationship between melatonin and cortisol. So all of that, when to make which hormones, when to make which neurotransmitters, and when to release all of that is all regulated by your circadian rhythms. So early morning light is one of the first steps. Even if you have to drag yourself out or crack a window and lay your head on the window seal, like whatever you have to do to get some of that, and go back to bed if you have to, like if you're just like so exhausted and fatigued, wrap yourself in a blanket and lay in the grass, like do whatever you have to do to get that morning light.
For how long?
Yeah, as long as you can. But being outside, we are designed to be outside the majority of our lives. And most of us have now done the opposite. Yeah. So, if you can get out for 5 or 10 minutes, it's better than nothing. If you can only pop out for a minute or two because you have a really busy morning, do that. Crack the window on your way to work. A lot of people will say, well, I sit next to a window, but all modern windows block some of the light frequencies that we want that help our body tell time. So that, if you don't look at your phone or a screen first thing in the morning, but you actually get some light from outside before you get any screen light, those kinds of things are going to be better, even if it's just for a minute or two. But ideally, you'd spend the whole morning outside. You'd eat outside, you walk the dog outside, you get outside, you just stay outside. You take your calls outside.
Yes, exactly. You guys should really take this seriously, because only the past few months have I been implementing this whole routine of getting outside when the sun is rising. You have no idea how impactful it has been. For me personally, so I'm just speaking from personal experience. Don't do it if you don't feel like doing it. I'm not forcing you here. But I'm just saying, my gosh, my muscle building, my fat loss, my body recomposition, my mental health, I have been stunned by the changes. Yes. And it's the light.
And it's the light, and you don't have to, like, that's my backyard. So I'm pretty lucky that that's the sunrise behind me.
Cool. Oh my gosh, on the water?
Yeah, but you do not have to have a great view. You can have buildings and trees and everything can be in the way. It is okay. See.
Yes.
It's okay. You're still getting the light frequency. So you don't have to have the beautiful view of sunrise to get the benefits.
Absolutely. Do you guys want a session focused on light therapy, quantum health? Put it in the chat. Put it in the comments if you'd love to learn more. We will absolutely invite.
Stick to carnivore. Kelly.
If you want that too,
Of course.
please
That's it.
share your thoughts.
We can do that. We have another question on carnivore.
Absolutely. Great. Okay. So Pete, thank you so much, Todd. I've been carnivore for 4 consecutive months and on Lion Diet, 85-15 ground beef, salt and water with a ground beef organ mix. I have 0 fatigue, 0 cravings. So is this enough fat?
That's great.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's great. I don't think that gets better.
Right.
Don't overthink it, Pete.
Why
Seriously,
question it?
why change what's working? 0 fatigue,
Right.
0 cravings. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's about.
And just know that sometimes it shifts, right? Everybody.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
I'm newly into the whole menopause.
Oh, really? Congrats.
Yeah. So,
Congrats.
yeah, the whole thing. So I'm turning 54 next month. Yeah. So
Wow.
I'm noticing that I have to make I'm just playing with fat and protein again. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. So I'll speak on that since Kelly opened it up with females, especially. And as a 28-year-old woman, I've noticed literally every month now, my fat needs change week to week. So let's not even put a box on how much fat we need. Let's be open-minded and let it evolve. Look, Todd, I'm sure you also had phases of high fat, less fat, right?
Oh yeah, I was eating 2 to 1 there for a long time, and I needed it. And then I ever wanted everything lean, and then now, I mean, quite literally, I made about 3 pounds of New York steak, and I cut all the fat off it because I was not in the mood for it this morning.
There you
And
go.
it tasted
how you
great.
feel.
And then about 2 hours ago, my brain went, "You should go eat some butter." So I got a Kirkland grass-fed butter here that I've been eating on all day, and it's just whatever. I think the beauty of it, especially when you get nourished, is that you can finally, all the noise goes away and you can hear what your body wants. And it's way smarter than I am. Everything that I did,
Yes.
I just screwed it up. When I just listened to it, and I'm like, butter, perfect. I'm eating it.
Yeah.
Salt when I want it, no salt when I don't, lean meat when I want it, fatty meat when I want it. Every time I do that, things get better. I feel better. Things heal. It's incredible.
That's incredible. And to me, that sounds like a moderator. Just saying.
Well, that's another thing, right? I can
Oh,
moderate.
yeah.
This is what I wanted to say. I don't have a problem moderating carnivore food.
Right.
Right.
So that also throws another monkey wrench into this
Yeah.
this whole thing. It's like, yeah, moderation makes sense with the proper diet. It does not make sense. And the reason why it makes me angry to hear this pushed is because, in my personal opinion, I believe that calorie restrictive diets and this idea that once an addict, always an addict, and this idea of moderation on anything is all propaganda to be able to push commercial big food, big pharma nonsense. That's
Totally
what
agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bravo.
So
Cool.
all right.
So good. Hi, Juliet. Good to see you here.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, is that it?
Was that anything? No,
I
that
didn't
was it.
find anything else with it.
Okay.
Uh,
Sending love then. Thank you so much. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, I just did a self-testing vitamin D test at home, low to almost not detectable level. Could this cause the binges?
Yeah, it can. Super low vitamin D causes more problems than you would imagine for people, and it can create binging. It's probably related to mitochondrial function, some other stuff too, but I think getting your vitamin D up is going to help you feel a whole lot better. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty low too, so I can definitely relate the lowness, and I think that's what activated my binges more and more. But when I started really nourishing myself with 3 meals a day,
Light.
yeah, well, and I was able to take sunlight. That's the difference, right? So before I couldn't 10, I just turned red, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden I'm taking sunlight,
You're
And then
tolerating
that,
it.
right. And then that raised my vitamin D level, which I've noticed decreased my want for the volume.
Mhm.
I'll speak on that too. When I was vegan, my vitamin D level was, I think, below 10. So it was just dangerously low. And I would burn within minutes in the sun. If too much sun, my skin would break out in rashes. I was
Yep.
that
Oh,
intolerant.
that
Mhm.
bad. Wow.
And so to go from that state to now, I can tan, I can be under sun for hours without SPF. It's life changing. And so for Juliet, when I was deficient in vitamin D as a vegan, I would be binging on empty carbs all the time. Now, as a carnivore, high fat, taking in that sunlight happily, I don't have any binges. So, like Todd opened up, it could very much be about the vitamin deficiencies. Which one we don't know, but when you're on carnivore and you embrace this lifestyle and all the education you get from the right people, you're doing the right things. You're eventually going to heal yourself, right, Todd?
And when you prime, you don't need to know what vitamin you're deficient in because your body knows, and it'll fill that void. That's what's great about it is, I think this stuff. I think most of what it is, it seems like we treat are actually just symptoms of the same dang disease, which is our diet. And we're always so distracted by trying to target this one symptom, and it's like eat healthy, fix them all. Who cares?
Fix
Let
it
your
all.
body
Yes.
fix it all.
Exactly.
Love that. Yeah, instead of taking a supplement for like vitamin D and overdoing that, just fix it all.
Yes.
Make sure you get proper nourishment all throughout the day until your body doesn't want it anymore.
Yes.
Right.
Beautiful.
Yeah, just be healthy.
That's right.
Yes.
We're trying. That's what they're trying to do here, right?
Exactly. Yep. Hey Nav. Okay, so how many live Q&As are in SBG? Might as well join. Oh my
I've
gosh.
been thinking forever, like, Nav,
Yeah.
please come to SBG so we can answer
Come
questions.
already. Yeah. At this point, yeah. To be honest, with the amount of gifts that you give us every week in these live streams,
You could have
might as
3
well.
memberships.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have 3 memberships, maybe 5 every month.
Yeah.
And we have open chat 5 days a week. We have a fasting call, a priming call, a sugar addiction call, doctors.
It's like every day in there.
Yeah,
That's every day. Yeah, there's something every day.
You'll get sick of us in there, but if you need the support, banner is up,
Mhm.
spgmeetup.com. Clickable links are down below as well. Thank you, Todd.
for sure.
Now I lost the question. Okay, great.
Wait, and the good thing with Nav, just to let you know, the good thing about this is not like this where we're answering your questions here, is you actually talk to us too.
Right.
And we like that. Then we get like real feedback and a conversation going. And that we can help you more. You can actually help us too, which is the beauty of it. The community helps each other. So join us.
100%. Once your IBS gets better, you'll be in there 6 months from now, and I'll be calling on you when the next member is asking if IBS can get better.
It's a beautiful cycle. Yeah.
That's right. Beautiful cycle.
Yep. And by the way, Caleb's in the house. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And let me just give him a quick shout out. I try to do this every single week. Caleb is 16 years young and he is thriving on a carnivore diet. He started a YouTube channel. He really wants to spread the word and help out. So we can all follow Caleb's channel at, if you don't mind just putting his comment up so we can see it typed out. I think
Where did it go? Somehow I lost it.
Oh, no worries. Maybe you unstart it.
I might have. Hold on. Let me go find it. Oh, here we go.
Worries.
Got it.
Thank you. Caleb's Carnivore Quest. Type that in. Subscribe. Thank you, Caleb.
There we go. Thanks, Caleb.
Yes. All right. PS says, could taking omeprazole lessen carnivore benefits? What do you think?
Actually, Todd, do you remember Dr. Phil talked about omeprazole? Wasn't it like some kind of PPI type thing?
I don't know. I don't know what that is, to be honest with you.
Okay. I remember he might have said that, but I don't know what that is either. Doc, we'll put it on you.
Yeah, that's not something that I'm really familiar with. I don't have anybody taking it. So my guess is...
Yeah. It says it treats frequent heartburn.
Oh, it is.
PPI. So it could lower your stomach acid is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Which it shouldn't... you shouldn't lessen the benefits because the carnivore is going to fix the issue and then you won't need it. So, but that's
Definitely.
but I don't have anybody taking it, so I don't have any real
Right.
experience there.
So PS, if you're having heartburn before the carnivore diet, before starting carnivore, and you were taking omeprazole before carnivore, obviously, if Dr. Phil were here, he would say consult your primary care physician more than anything. Don't just go off medications because you think you can. Obviously, be careful and cautious about it. Consult him or her. And then once you do consult him and he gives you a path of how to get off it, you might absolutely notice that you don't need it anymore because you don't struggle with heartburn anymore. The other side of this is people who start carnivore diet, they suddenly do have heartburn because of maybe too much fat for their body at that moment. They just can't handle it. So they have acid reflux, heartburn, nausea, indigestion. Typically, that is part of the adaptation phase. So don't freak out. Right, Raymond? Do you have thoughts
That's
on that
right.
for the adaptation?
I actually was one of them who had high heartburn, before and also during the adaptation during carnivore. So just like what Bella said, and and I used to do the apple cider vinegar because I didn't want to take like PPIs or anything like that. And eventually, I just didn't need it anymore. It just started going away. And from what I've read, is that's why we encourage in the steak and butter gang to eat 3 meals a day. Is one of the part of that is to encourage that stomach acid creation. So even though if you think, oh my God, I'm going to gain a lot of weight from that, no, it actually serves a purpose. So that way you can have your stomach acid start regulating itself and being able to. Now it's not going to happen day one. So there's going to be torturous times, right? So I do want to say it took me about 6 months just for it to lower to the point where it's like. I wasn't taking apple cider vinegar anymore, but I still felt it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Keep us posted.
It's awesome. All right. This is usually where I go, I don't see a comment, and then it pops up. But I'm looking for it.
What dollar type is that?
I have no idea.
I have no idea. Bella, you know what that is?
I have no idea. Can someone help us watching this live? I'm sure somebody knows and recognizes that. Let me take this real quick. Bella, were you ever fat? I wouldn't say that I was ever overweight. Okay. But if you look at my before and after photos, and I should probably pull it up here, but I post it all the time on Instagram because it's just easier. It's so clear that you can see that I'm so inflamed. No, I wasn't overweight. No, I wasn't obese ever, but the inflammation is very apparent on my face, on my body, in my waist, in my calves, thighs, all of it. And you see my now photo, it's almost like a different female. It's a different person.
You had a little pouch, kind of weird little pouch on your belly back then, right?
Thanks, Raymond.
Sorry, I couldn't say that.
Weird little pouch.
That's what it looked like. And now it's so flat and kind of inward almost. So it's like
sure.
And
that's what see, that's what I call the Buddha belly. That's the Buddha belly that you get from the vegan diet. And it's crazy, but the vegan community would say you go to sleep like Buddha and you get to wake up like Gandhi. I never got to wake up with no flat stomach ever.
I don't know why I want to wake up looking like Gandhi. That looks malnourished. But anyways, that's just me.
What a dangerous statement. Yeah.
So wake up
that
like
happened.
Gandhi. Ooh.
Not good.
All right.
Are we
okay?
Thank you, Jen.
Yeah, so I don't see Jen's question. Let's keep going. I don't want to take up too much of Dr. Ritter's time. So, Patriarch King. Okay. Hi, do you know what dental thing Dr. Phil uses for sleep? Todd knows.
Yeah, it's called a sleep apnea oral appliance. It's a custom fit sleep apnea oral appliance. It just pulls your bottom jaw forward, so when you lay back, you don't obstruct your airway in the back. So,
Thank you for that.
And these are the tips that we find out in SPG.
All the time, yeah.
Tom,
I've started a carnivore diet to cure long-term depression and ADHD. I'm coming off the ADHD meds. Oh, coming off of it is horrendous. You feel like an addict. Carnivore is the hope. Any thoughts on this, Dr. Ritter?
Yes, for sure. Coming off withdrawals can be horrible for people. And so carnivore is definitely, well, some people do keto. I have to say, I have a lot of clients that use keto that are coming off of or titrating off of the medications. So you just continue to work with your prescribing person and provider. And the more you can heal using the carnivore, the less horrendous it's going to be. But it is, it's really, it's unfortunate that so many people get put on medications so easily because coming off of them, nobody ever talks about the withdrawal part before you get on it, typically. So, yes, Tom, I hope that you continue to do well on carnivore, and I promise that it gets better and it gets better. It gets better and better, but you do need to kind of play with your fat and protein to see what's going to work for you.
Love that.
All right. And the last super.
Okay, Sandra Stitches. Big Tony is in the chat. He's 16 and just started carnivore. Give him a shout out. Absolutely. Congratulations, Tony.
Big Tony.
Do we know Big Tony, Todd?
I don't, but I think Sandra's being just encouraging for his new diet run.
Beautiful.
So new eating.
Let's give a round of applause to Big Tony. Keep it up.
We love the young ones. It's great.
Yeah.
For
Come
sure,
back.
good job.
It was posted, Tony. All right.
I know. My son said he was going to pop on. I don't know if he's in here. He's in the other room. He's 19. He's
nice.
Animal-based.
Carnivore,
mostly.
animal-based.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Oh, love that.
Love it.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, let's do a couple more and I'll let Dr. Ritter go and enjoy her night. Alexandra wants to know, how can I get rid of migraines? I drink plenty of water, still struggling, don't want to rely on over-the-counter medicine anymore. Thanks.
Yeah. So, does anybody else want to take this one, or you want me to give my 2 cents about migraines?
So when migraines are brought up, we always love to recommend Angela Stanton. I don't know if you know her.
I do, and I found her very helpful. So I got my first migraine at 17, had chronic migraines.
Wow.
Yeah, my whole life. And I found Angela Stanton very, very helpful.
Okay.
She's really great. And salting your water and getting your salt right was really helpful. That's what I learned from Angela. But then I also had to do some homeopathy because it just wasn't getting moved. Even with all the quantum health stuff, even on carnivore, I still had some lingering migraines. So
and now with homeopathy, how was that for you?
Yeah, I still get headaches, I don't have to take any of the medications. I will occasionally get a really bad headache, but not the debilitating migraines that I used to get.
Okay. That's
I
awesome.
know.
Wow, that's
But
very
I
helpful.
wish carnivore had taken care of it, but
Yeah.
So I've had clients with debilitating migraines. You know, they'd have to take 2 to 3 days off a month, some longer. Yeah. And when I got them to carnivore, one of the styles that I like to do is to make sure they nourish themselves like 3 meals a day. And that actually cut her migraine. And then she actually was able to actually fast later on without the migraine hitting. Now, of course, she didn't keep on and she fell off the wagon because things, social life and work. And then she started getting her migraine back. So I don't know what happened to her. But when she was free of migraine, she's like, I can't believe I went this month with no migraine. Like literally would say that. I've never had that in my life. Yeah. So there is hope there. That's what I'm trying to say. There are people like Dr. Ritter here, who's done that. And I've witnessed it myself many times.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. This one is specifically for Dr. Ritter. How do you prepare your cod livers? Do you just eat it straight out of the can?
I do. I eat it straight out of the can.
Yes.
I don't prepare them. I know. Yeah. I like them, but I know some people just got to mix it with something because they can't handle it.
I think they taste better than sardines, and a lot of people like sardines. I think the cod livers taste better than sardines.
They're really good.
The texture's takes a little getting used to.
Yeah, it's like cat food. It's so my family says. But
Yeah.
oh, cat food, not cat litter. Sorry.
Yeah, cat food. Right.
Yeah. Carnivore, can you talk a little bit about coffee and anxiety? Also, is decaf any better, or is it the coffee bean itself? Great question.
Yeah, really good question. So coffee is a drug, not a drink. Sorry. We're not trying to steal your coffee, but it is really hard for people with chronic anxiety to handle coffee or any caffeine, right? So caffeine. And it's not just because it's a stimulant, because it is a stimulant, but the caffeine will artificially dock into the receptor site for adenosine, which is part of our mitochondria. We make ATP, adenosine triphosphate. So adenosine is one of the byproducts of that. And it's what helps us know when we're feeling tired, and it helps us relax. And so the caffeine will artificially dock in that receptor site, which means the adenosine can't get there. And because of, the half-life is, I think, like 5 or 6 hours or something on caffeine, but it's a long time. So yes, decaf can help with that. It's also, there are many people that will talk about the toxins and the mold that's the way that the coffee is grown matters. I find that most people, if they'll just switch to the decaf because they love the ritual of it, that will help them. And also, if you get sunlight, food, and then the coffee in the morning, that is a better than coffee 100%. Before food, starting with coffee. Even if you putting in MCT oil, or if somebody's putting like butter in their coffee, I still get light, get food, then get the coffee.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I give it a name for okay.
We just love the message that you're spreading here. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Awesome. I love it.
All right, last one, and then I will let Dr. Ritter share how people can work with her. Foxy Joe, will Carnivore help with the neuropathy in my feet?
Yep, 100%. We're all like, yeah.
Yep, we see it all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, I can move my toes individually 23 months ago, and I couldn't feel my legs below my knees for like the first 2 inches of skin, and all that came back. It's all completely back. It's crazy how fast it heals.
Bravo. So good.
Yeah, there's nothing like personal experience. And that was my experience. I used to have problems with my toes, feeling my toes. And yeah, all that's back. And it's better than ever. And actually, though, I don't know about you, Todd, but did you have like ashen feet and kind of real bad skin around your feet?
I had terrible skin. I had the scaliest skin you've ever seen in your life, from the shins down. I had terrible circulation. And my neuropathy on my feet were so bad, I bought one of those pads that you put your feet on that send electricity through them to make your calves pump. I put my feet on them, and I'm an electrician. I put my feet on them. I'm like, oh, this thing's not working. I thought, well, maybe my skin's so dry. So I dipped my feet in water to wet my skin. I put my feet on them. There was nothing. So I thought, oh, this thing's not working. So I put it on my desk. I put my forearms on it. My hands locked up. Yeah, but I had no nerve function on my feet at all. I couldn't. That thing would not lock it up. And I had it cranked to 20 that locked both of my arms up till you could see veins popping out of my forearms. But I couldn't feel anything. I had zero muscle response on my feet from it.
I wasn't that bad.
Yeah, and it all came back. And it started first. I felt like my feet felt like they're in a hot frying pan. They started to burn.
Yes.
And instinctively, I was like, I think this is a good thing. I think it's good to feel something burning. And then it started to heal up, and that burning lasted like 3 weeks. And then I started being able to move my toes individually. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's what that is. Yeah.
So amazing. So amazing.
It works. It comes back.
Wow. There's hope, guys, for pretty much everything.
Always hope. Always hope. Always. And I know I could talk to you guys forever, because I have questions for y'all too. just in terms of like listening to your intuition and how that gets so much better on carnivore.
Yes.
And like, how do you know when you're actually like moving towards something healing? Like you just said, Todd, like I just kind of instinctively felt like that's got to be good, right? I'm feeling something.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you just navigate it. So
Yes.
this has been so fun.
Oh,
Wow.
I'm so glad. We learned so much from you.
Yes.
Now,
You've been
before
like
we
a
let
ray
you
of
go,
sunshine. Sorry.
could we have you share for those watching this live and then the playback, if they want to learn more from you or work with you, where should they go?
Anxiety-recovery.com.
Okay.
Is there some I could type it somewhere, but I can't type it.
Oh,
So-
that's going to be taken care of.
I'll link
Okay,
it.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm mostly on Instagram. Don't try to message me on Facebook because I never go over there, but I do
Same.
hang out on Instagram. I love to connect with people on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel as well. So people, and I have a podcast. So if people are, it's quantum mental health. So if you're interested in like the quantum health, and Kelly Hogan is coming on in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about meat and mental health. If y'all want to come on the show, we'll yeah. So that's a way that people can learn more too about quantum health. And then anxietyrecovery.com, anxiety-recovery.com is how you find me.
Both are linked in the live chat, guys. Save it, click it, go. And I'll also put in the description box. Let's give a round of applause and a big thank you to Dr. Kelly Ritter.
Thank you.
So awesome. Thank you
That
for
was
being here.
so fun. I
Love
loved
you.
it. I
I'll
want
have you
that
back.
puppy. I want Aspen.
I know, right? Aspen says thank you.
Aspen's like so sleepy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys take care. Thanks for having me.
I'll keep in touch.
Awesome, Dr. Ritter.
Perfect.
We'll find
Bye,
another
y'all.
time. Perfect.
Thanks.
Bye. Good night, Kelly.
Good night.
Thank you. Yay. Oh my gosh.
That was
I-
she's fun.
I really have so many questions for her, but I wanted her to focus on mental health today. Yes, fun night. I agree. Absolutely. Now, let me check in with Todd and Raymond if we want to keep going for this live stream. Todd, how are you feeling?
I'm good.
Raymond?
I'm good for another maybe hour.
Wow. Okay. Dang.
Okay, let's say half an hour. All right, and then I'll drop. Yeah.
Let's do for half an hour. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, perfect. So let's reset. New questions, please come on in. If you have a specific question for Todd, the Carnivore Cure, please label Todd and then type your question. If you have a question for Raymond, same thing. Okay. So I see one about Aspen, the puppy. He is a Bichon. Yeah, I think Bichon.
Look at that nose. Look at that face.
I just look at that little facey washy. I know.
The nose is cute.
I know. Bichon
Does
Frise. Yeah.
Does he still have puppy breath?
I don't smell it. I really don't smell it.
Oh, look at that kid.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Simba smells worse. Yeah.
No, puppy breath is cute. When you first have a puppy, they
Yes,
have that
that's
sweet.
They
Oh,
have
I
a
very-
didn't know that. I
yeah,
thought
it's
puppy
sweet.
breath
Yeah.
was stinky.
No, puppy breath is as everybody
Mm.
loves puppy breath. It's kind of sweet and a little bit clovey.
Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta stick my
Clovey. That's right.
Yeah.
You're right. That's it.
How cool. Yeah, no,
Beautiful.
he smells real good. So love it.
Simba or Aspen. Simba.
Aspen, yes.
And I have to ask Bella. So,
Yes.
what are you feeding him?
Okay, so because I just got him, I've had him for just days. I don't want him to have loose stools, so I've been slowly introducing chicken livers
Chicken
with
liver.
what
Okay.
he's currently eating. Will he be eating a carnivore/raw carnivore diet? Absolutely. I'm going to be working.
Yeah.
towards-
Oh,
of course.
Bella, keep us
Of course.
updated. I want to know for sure.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes.
I have
Awesome.
I have a comment I want to answer.
Please go ahead.
What is the best
Ooh.
way to start? If I had to do it over again, and I'm going to say this because these two won't, but I would join SBG because it was a lot easier once I got in there. I white knuckled things and did it on my own for the first 9 months, and everything got easier. And it's not even about whether you can do it. Once I got in there, things were way more efficient. So I would join Steak and Butter Gang and have a community, and
Yeah.
you will stand. I'm not even kidding. I think you have a 10 times greater chance of being successful and getting over the carb cravings in a community. And it doesn't even just have to be this one, but SBG's amazing for that.
And how to join?
Yeah. It's amazing if you think about it, because Todd, at first you have all of these crazy questions running through your head. Sure enough, you'll watch all these videos and all this kind of stuff, but that only leads to more questions. When you can have a conversation with somebody, though, whether it's an open chat or whether it's in that community, in the forum or live, it makes such a difference. It makes you not have this anxiety going on all the time. Am I going to be able to poop if I don't have fiber? These weird little questions going to pop up and scare you because you know what? You're going to hear it from your family. Right. People who think you're killing yourself, your doctor. So all of that.
100%. And that's what I get annoyed about is this, this big food, big pharma, standard American diet system is built to completely inundate us every day with all this crap. And then we try to sit there and, get focused, and we have all these little nuances happening that we don't understand because it's new. And then you're hearing all this stuff saying, oh, you're going to have high cholesterol, you're going to have a heart attack, all these terrible things are going to happen. Right. But then you get into SBG and there's, hundreds of members in there that have been doing it for maybe just days, but maybe years,
Oh, yeah.
And you see everybody going through it, and all the fear mongering propaganda becomes a joke because everybody's so vibrant, their skin's healthy, everybody's healthy, and all the fear just melts away. So you get in there and all the propaganda and all the nonsense, you see what a lie that it really is. And then they can help you through all the little nuances, because not everything negative that's going to happen to you when you change your diet is a bad thing. It's also, it's just, it could be your body working some stuff out, and it's really good to know what those things are and what's happening to you. So you're not always being reactive and throwing yourself around, that it's just part of the journey,
It's certainly more efficient. Now, thank you both for that. I wanted to feature this one because, look, we're aware that $30 a month can be too much for some people, maybe a lot of people who watch, carnivore videos. And that's exactly why I do these weekly live streams with Todd, with Raymond, with the entire SBG team to make the help and troubleshooting you might need way more accessible than having to, pay and get into SBG or any carnivore community. So Big Tony, I did want to let you know that we have scholarships available, okay? Especially, not just but for veterans, especially. And if you want to reach out and share your situation and inquire if there's scholarship available, please email sbgchallenge@gmail.com. If someone can type that in. I have a question. Who's already in SBG? Who's already in the gang? Let us know in the live chat. We love you guys, and we're happy to see you. Yes.
I want to make a comment. Big Tony picture looks young, so obviously that's probably why he's $30.
He's 16.
Would be a lot. Well, guess what? Don't you have a steak and butter?
I have a butter club, but here's the thing. I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, sorry.
Because
I'm sorry.
No, because I have been focusing a lot of my time on the steak and butter gang, and I do feel like it's just guilt. Like, I feel like I'm letting them down right now because Butter Club has been taking a backseat. But the steak and butter gang is for everyone, all ages, all over the world. So I feel like I'm going to pour my heart and soul in that first and foremost. It's my original community. So it's going to take top priority. Okay. So Butter Club is in the backseat. Okay. Let's keep going.
For sure. All right. Let's see. Did we get this one yet? I forgot. No.
Okay. No, we have not.
No, I'm working on that.
What is that?
What is that?
I'm working on that. No, on one of H&H's live streams, I'm always harassing people. And one time, I forget what doctor they had on, but I super chatted them and asked if Carnivore could help get rid of a third nipple, and asking for a friend. And so Caleb's calling me out on it. Listen, I'm just gonna when I get the skin surgery, I'm just gonna pull it down and make it my new belly button. So we're gonna be it's just gonna be an howdy, Caleb. We're gonna be all set.
I love it.
Oh, hilarious.
All right, let's see here.
Third nipple.
I'm trying to think where we start. I'm just going to answer this one real quick.
Do it.
I appreciate it, but no, I'm not doing anything different. But this is really good. This is a really good point, right? Yeah. This is exactly what I was just talking about, SBG. Yes. Before I would have reacted. What you were seeing over the last 3 months up until about a week ago was inflammation. The reason why I had inflammation was because I was oxalate dumping. It started with kidney stones turned into, yeah. And I went through 3 months of the hellish oxalate dumping, but it wasn't a negative thing. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I wasn't eating wrong. I wasn't stressing out or none of that stuff. But had I gone through that on my own without understanding through the community what oxalate dumping was and also all the, which is why I'm drinking green tea right now, because drinking green tea slows down the oxalate dump. And by doing green tea for the last 3 weeks, all the inflammation left my face, which makes me look like I lost 50 pounds.
Wow.
But all it is the green tea got rid of the inflammation. And so now I'm not inflamed.
Wow.
And I feel that's literally all it's been. And you don't understand that stuff. Had I not been in a community and learned this stuff, I would have went, surely the vegans were right and carnivore's bad and it's trying to kill me.
Absolutely. You know? That's how the mind works.
Right.
Now everybody's going to be running to grab green tea. I can see it.
Well, I know. Oh, no. Like there's nuances. There's so many nuances.
Too many nuances.
Yeah. And this is why you need a community of people that have done this and went through it, and a large enough sample size that there's a consensus on what's most likely to help you. And that's 100%. Why the community is so handy. So
I want to shout out Todd real quick because, everyone in the team, honestly, intimidating people. Okay. Like if you look at Phil, he's so intimidating. He's so smart. He knows everything. It's like you just, and then Raymond, like, oh my God, the fasting expert. But Todd, thank you for being you. Thank you for being the bubbly, warm, gentle, kind, and hilarious guy who just connects everyone together in SBG. You have no idea the impact that you have given the community and the culture in there. You're the best.
I appreciate it. It's my new tribe for sure. I can't imagine being.
We love you so much.
He does a lot. I mean, comes into all these open chats, helps a bunch of people. So,
it's more than we could ever dream of.
Yeah. So awesome.
Appreciate it. You guys got to check it out. I mean, I don't get paid to be there. I'm telling you this. I get paid nothing for telling you this, but I'm telling you, it'll make things so much easier for you. And I know it's like Bella said, I watch her give scholarships to people and she helps everybody. They're very generous over there. But the reality of it is it's $30 a month. And I get it that can be a lot of money, but for me, the soda that I stopped drinking, the Coke paste that I stopped paying to go to the doctor all the time, the work that I stopped missing, the medications that I stopped taking, the junk food that I stopped being addicted to, the Copenhagen itself that I stopped chewing, all these things by being successful have paid me back 1 million times over. And I could, if it cost $500 a month, I could not afford not to be there. And that's
you forgot about being on oxygen, how much that must
have cost. Yeah, oxygen, CPAPs.
Yep.
Oxygen, CPAPs, crap, toilet paper from pooping twice a day off of the junk. I mean, for aspirin and Advil and all the bull crap. I take nothing. I'm not on a single medication. I don't take a single over-the-counter pill. I don't take cold medication. I take nothing. I eat meat and I feel great. That's it.
Actually, I want to ask because Bella, you used to always say it's just a cup of coffee a day or something like that back then, right?
Yeah.
And that makes sense. Of course, coffee is a lot more expensive than when you said that term.
Yes.
So
that's a fact.
Look at it that way.
Hello, like nowadays, Starbucks, it's like $8 a drink.
$10. Yeah, a drink. Yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, you're right. Good memory, Raymond. Back then, I would compare it to, it's basically the cost of a coffee a day. So why wouldn't you try it out? Community is important. That was my whole pitch there. But look, at this point, I just want to grow the community and give out scholarships if people need it. I try my best to be as generous as possible, but most importantly, though, I still cannot fathom how I deserved friends like Todd, like Raymond, like Phil, like this incredible team. Lindy, what the heck, I love you guys so much. My heart hurts. And carnivores are just naturally the most generous, down to earth people. They open up their heart immediately and you just see them for who they are. And I think it's because we have no inflammation. What else is there to hide behind?
Right.
Wait till you guys go to an in-person meetup and make friends and talk to us in person. It's truly a community that you could never ever find anywhere else. And I've tried multiple communities when it comes to health, diet, and wellness, including the vegan diet. The carnivore diet is where it's at, because of the people and the food that we're eating. Now,
all of it.
Since we're talking about in-person meetups, Todd, do you want to talk about the biggest one this year?
I think we're going to make it the biggest one. So yeah, we're doing one in my backyard, actually, here in Montana, both in Montana, for the 4th of July, 5th of July, and 6th of July. If you guys don't know, we happen to do a monster 4th of July show anyways. So, but here's what I'm going to say, too. I can't promise that you're going to get fireworks, because we do occasionally, as the season comes, it gets too hot and they ban fireworks for fire danger. So, but barring something like that, so the fireworks are going to be a bonus if they happen, but it's a 90% chance it'll happen, especially with the snowpack we got right now. So it should be fine, but I do want to make stipulation on that. But as long as we don't have a fireworks ban because of fire danger, we have a huge fun fireworks celebration, and not just a little. I mean, it's whatever you're thinking, because it's a private show, just triple it, and it's way bigger than that even.
Fact.
So it's fun. And then we're going to put on so we're doing a meetup, long story short. And so no matter what, we're going to have a 4th of July meetup, a 5th of July meetup, and probably a 6th of July meetup as well. We're going to have that posted soon. And we are working on who all's going to attend, but it's going to be pretty huge. So
it will. Yeah. And this is just the first, our very big debut launch experience within the SBG team. And shout out to Todd again for making this possible. So if you guys want details on like the link for booking it and reserving your spot, it'll be out soon. Okay.
Yeah.
So just keep in touch. Yeah.
Soon, keep checking sbg.events and you will find it.
Is that the URL?
Oh, what?
Oh my gosh.
When did you do that?
Exciting.
Cool.
Just before we hopped on, me and Lindy found a bunch, and I hope you don't mind, but I bought 4 of them because I was we should get all the URLs around that. So we bought them all.
So. SBG.events is such a cute little URL too.
That's so awesome. Yeah. I see it. It says blog. Hello world.
Hello world. Perfect.
Yeah, we will get there shortly. It's not up yet, but here very shortly. You can check sbg.events, and that's where it'll go live. So
let's all spam the comments right now.
Are there comments there? You can comment?
Well, you can comment. So I'm like, might as well.
How cute. Well, sbg.events it is. And, I would love to share everybody's in-person events on that website. It'll just be like a one-stop shop to see what's happening live near you. Why not? So thank you guys so much for being part of this community and for being so active. Let's go back to the questions, shall we?
Absolutely. All right, where was I?
I'm glad you did that.
So good.
All right, let's start here because I think I gotta
do it. Let's have Todd do this.
Okay, also more interestingly, can you talk about potassium iodide? Lugos, tell me everything you know about iodine. Well, I started seeing in color when I started taking it. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
like legitimately. So I am just a electrician in Montana, so I was too stupid to know that potassium iodide versus versus iodine were the same thing. It was just in different forms.
I didn't know.
So I was only counting the iodine. So I was actually taking more like 112 milligrams of iodine a day total instead of 50, because you're supposed to add in the potassium iodide with it. However, there's something to be learned there. I didn't have any side effects from taking 112.5 milligrams of iodine. In fact, I didn't start feeling anything until I got to 50 milligrams of iodine, and it didn't really get better at over 100 milligrams of iodine, but the 50 was the mark. And the reason why I started doing that was because of a video that maybe Lindy might post up here for us, which is Dr. Brownstein's interview with Ken Berry, which was awesome on iodine. And so I started, and you don't just jump into it, you work your way up to it, but listen to his protocol. But if you have any thyroid issues, it can have an adverse effect too. That's why you got to work up to it, especially some people say if you have Hashis, then it could have an adverse effect. But I think everybody should try it and work up to it. And if it works for you, if you get in, if you have a positive effect from it, then keep going. If you don't, for me, it's been a game changer for sure.
Awesome. Great little recap.
I would like to say, so it's not for everyone. Get to know Dr. Brownstein's book, Dr. Bright. Here's the thing. I did iodine, but I did not have good effects from it. And I've heard some other people don't. So definitely do your own. For some people, it's a miracle.
For me,
yeah. Don't. And also what I learned from Dr. Bright's calls in SBG is we'll have a lot of women go ham on the iodine, and they just did too many drops of it before their body adapted. So they would experience like almost just negative symptoms from not adapting their body to the iodine. And there's this salt flush that Dr. Bright keeps bringing up to help you not have to suffer from those negative symptoms. So there's a lot to learn, actually, a lot of protocols. So don't jump into it and don't be like overexcited and then start tomorrow 5 drops of it. Educate yourself. So check out Dr. Brownstein on that.
Yeah, 100%. And like what Dr. Phil told us to do was to do a drop and then do it for 3 days to a week and then double it. And
exactly.
See,
Good. Yeah. David, you all seem real happy, which is nice. Yeah, we're so happy. I mean, come on. Can't you tell? Should I be scared of the oxalate dumping? I'm a week into carnivore. I'll take this. I actually talked about the oxalate dumping in today's new video. Very briefly, though, oxalate dumping, unfortunately, is just inevitable if you ate sweet potatoes ever, if you ate spinach, kale, lots of cinnamon, lots of black pepper, even teas. When you stop eating those oxalate-rich foods, then your body's naturally going to want to dump it out because it's not going to benefit your health if it stays in the system. These are tiny crystals we're talking about that wreak havoc on our organs, on our health, on our energy, everything. So your body's going to want to detox it. And this is why Todd, keeps talking about drinking tea every day to lessen the negative dumping symptoms. As confusing as it may sound, if this is the first time you're hearing about it, we recommend going to Amazon and ordering Sally K. Norton's book, Toxic Superfoods is what it's called. If someone can type that in the live chat, that book is probably the best thing you can read to get yourself caught up about what oxalates are, what oxalate dumping is, protocols on how to not have to suffer so hard. Okay, David? Don't be scared. Airwick, I was recently watching the Joe Rogan podcast where he mentioned that consuming a lot of protein without enough fat can spike your blood sugar levels. Is this true? Good job. Yeah, listening to that. Raymond, you want to start?
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to say there is such thing as a rabbit starvation. Yeah, you'll see this work from Willem Hurt Stevenson. He talks about it. There's a lot of tribes that are very carnivore. They'll not hunt any lean game purposely. They look for the fattiest, like Native Indians. They look for the fattiest, healthiest buffalo they could to take down. And that was an important point. They did that because they knew that, look, at a certain point, when you only have protein and carbs as a macro, protein and fat as a macro, your fat is your fuel. So you may get a lot lower energy. Now, saying that, okay, there's two issues here. When you drop carbs, though, there can be a potential where you need to fat adapt, get used to getting into the fat. So obviously, a leaner approach is okay, but it shouldn't be void of fat. We always want to make sure that there is some fat in it, but even the leanest filet mignon still has like a 10% fat ratio to it. So in today's food, and in other words, if we hunt it out in the wild, then obviously we'll get much leaner, like rabbits. Probably a bad idea to just eat rabbits or maybe even chicken breasts all day long. And that's your sustenance. You need that extra fat. But that's my point of view. Thoughts, Todd?
Yeah, absolutely. And, also it's just, our body, which is one of the reasons why I don't think you can actually gain a bunch of body fat on carnivore ever. I don't think you could eat enough on carnivore consistently enough to gain a significant amount of weight enough that it would matter on carnivore before your body heals and eventually your signaling kicks in, because all that you're experiencing is gluconeogenesis. You're eating more protein than your body can absorb and utilize, so the remainder of the protein, it turns into glucose, and that spikes your insulin. However, that process is really is not efficient, and so it's an expensive process that your body has to go through. So it uses up so much energy turning it into glucose that it's really insignificant. However, it still can stop you. The only real short-term downside to it is that it can stop you from it can stop you from being in autophagy. It can stop you from lowering your fasted insulin set point, like Jason Fung talks about, just a little bit. But other than that, I don't think it's really important. If you're that worried about it, then figure out what that protein looks like for you before it starts causing you to go into gluconeogenesis. For me, I happen to know it's about between 55 and 60 grams of protein per meal if I care. And then when I start going over that, feel
it almost, right? You can feel it.
Yeah, it feels like a sugar crash. You get sleepy.
Like a sugar
right?
crash. Right. Mm-hmm.
That's it. But the only difference is the sugar crashes last a lot longer. These sugar crash, a gluconeogenesis crash.
Yeah, these are
they're totally different. So yeah,
they're honestly almost therapeutic for me, because so I'm glad Todd and Raymond shared first, because I'm at a different stage here. Again, I'm female. I'm 28 years young, so I'm going to have a different path than Raymond, than Todd. And for me, when it comes to how much protein and fat I feel I need to be optimal, to feel the way that I want to feel, I actually can get by and eat. Todd, how many grams of protein is 2 pounds of beef? What do you think?
Roughly, I would say 2 pounds of beef is roughly, I'm going to say it's close to 120 grams of protein, I bet.
Yeah, 120 grams of protein. I'm scarfing that down in one sitting, and I'm having the fat on the steak, if it's a fatty steak, or added fat with raw egg yolks or my stick of butter. Am I eating a whole stick of butter in a day? I know I'm going to get asked this. 6 years in, I don't need it anymore. I do not need a whole stick of butter per day. But my first year, I needed at least a stick of butter per day. That just goes to show how we're always evolving. Listen to your body regarding the protein and the fat. When I eat 120 grams of fat in a meal, I feel energized. I don't have that lull. So that says our body, again, adapts. It's able to literally have so much energy. I'm on my feet right now, but when I sit down, I want to stand up. I want to fidget. I want to move around. I cannot stop moving because, oh my gosh, the puppy's going crazy. Because my body just has so much energy. It's so efficient. That's where we want to get to. So for one person, it'll look like way higher fat to get there. And we want to be fat adapted. There's so many nuances. Like, what does it mean to be fat adapted?
Right.
It's a lot, but we don't want to overwhelm you, Airwick. And you listening to Joe Rogan is great. Listen to the Carnivore Cure. Did you subscribe to his channel? Because
there you go.
His live streams, weekly live streams there as well. Keep listening to all the Carnivore channels. We highly recommend it. It's free. Play it while you drive. Play it all day long. You learn so much.
Let's blast Joe Rogan to have Todd on that show.
Yes,
Todd's been dying to correct him on something.
We need that to happen ASAP.
We need to have a conversation for sure. So that's funny. Joe Rogan's gonna eat me alive.
I'd love to see it. That's all I know.
Me too.
Me too. Okay, so Big Tony, listen, carnivores, I'm a 16-year-old who's been on and off with carnivore for about 3 months. Now I feel good. I don't know if I'm going to stunt my growth or not. What do you guys recommend? Why would you think you're going to stunt your growth?
Carnivore?
If anything, you're going to boost your growth.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. There is one thing because my son has this problem. So he's 14, and whenever he does carnivore, he just stops eating because he's full all the time and he cannot put in. And I'm just like, look, you got to eat often. You got to make yourself eat.
So Big Tony, if you're worried about stunting your growth, make sure you eat enough. Eat those 3 meals a day first, at least. Go on.
Well, and add the dairy, right? You are the reason. I mean, literally the reason why young calves do the dairy is because it opens up their appetite and it pushes them to eat more, so that they become those 400-pound steers. So if you want to grow, like, you know, I mean, that is something that our parents got right. That said, you know, dairy grows healthy babies. Milk,
raw milk if you can. Raw milk if you can. Yes.
Raw milk if you can. Of course. Yeah. But Tony, drink the raw milk, eat the fatty meat, and eat all the eggs you want. Maybe even push it a little bit with eating more. Overeat, you know, like eat till you're stuffed. You're gonna grow so well that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yay. Awesome.
Yeah, your muscles are gonna grow muscles.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure. All right, we got 1 minute left before the 2-hour mark. Is that where you're stopping, or
shall we then? We can, if you guys want to.
Well, we have one more comment, the paid pop comment, whatever that's called.
Super chat. Hold on. Yep. Let me get to that.
Caleb.
Great. Oh, wait. Look at this, though.
Oh.
Max got these dry aged steaks. I'm going to try it. They're gorgeous, and this is my 3rd pound of meat today, guys.
Wait, is that a bone? Is that a bone one, or
hold it on.
Right. Yep, I thought so.
When the bone's that length sticking out, we call those cowboy steaks.
Cowboy.
Ooh, cowgirl steak.
There you go. That's it. Oh, yep.
That's awesome.
Watch out! It's time for Bella to eat, so we don't want to take that time either.
For sure. I know. What would I talk to Joe Rogan about? So, I want to correct the record. I think that there's a misunderstood part of where the propaganda comes in, and I think that it's something that needs to be discussed more, because Joe Rogan, when Michaela Peterson was on there, he had it out with her, and he did not like he was basically saying that you could fix obesity and basically poor health by just eating, just by changing your diet and exercising through it. Like, move more, eat less, eat more, whole foods. And he said that, he basically, and Michaela Peterson was like saying, I think that there's some people that are more sick than that, and he kind of jumped on it. Because the fact of the matter is if we were all running on an algorithm, and you could plug us into a computer and you could change our code and just say, you're just going to eat 2,000 calories and you're going to lift, 200 pounds over your head 4 times a week, and you're going to do these things, and you're going to walk 10,000 steps, and you're going to do all these things. If we were just a robot, sure, that might work on paper. But the fact of the matter is that's been the ongoing advice for, I don't know how many decades now. Move more, eat less, eat whole foods, and it'll be solve all your problems. And look at the state of the world right now, right? It is an environmental problem. You can't. So what I'm saying is yes, if we were a robot, we could probably do that. But in reality, what is actually going to help people and get them to that point where they can do that? And so for me, when I was 715 pounds and dying, and I was sick and I was depressed and I was just trying not to eat a freaking 9mm sandwich every day, I would not have heard that message. And when I did hear that message, I tuned out to it. And you can say, well, that's just because you weren't trying hard enough or whatever. You can say all those things, but if we really want to make a difference and we want to get past this, we need to heal people first, and we need to use the nutrition and the diet that's going to heal them. Yes. And then once you're healthy it's a lot easier to get people to go move more and lift heavy things every day and to do the things that are going to benefit them when you're healthy and you're vibrant and you feel good. You're not ill. That's what I would talk to them about.
All you have to talk about, Todd, is your story.
Yep.
Right.
Todd, you could even say something like, look, do you think at 715 pounds on oxygen that I could actually go out there and take a jog?
Right.
You think that's going to benefit me?
Well, I'm not going to say his name too, but there's this guy on Facebook, and I tried reaching out to him, and he was like 800 pounds. No joke. He was between 750 and 800 pounds. And he did just that thing. And I was watching him, and he had all these limp impacted tissue hanging off him. And he was going out in his backyard and fighting, and he was going and hitting a heavy bag, and he was doing all this stuff. And he was like, and I messaged him and I said, please stop doing that. You got to change your diet and you got to get some of that off. What you're doing is dangerous. You're going to have a skin problem if you're not careful. Well, what happens when you're that big is he got cellulitis. And I watched him, and he died in the hospital from cellulitis from trying to work out to lose the weight. No. And I saw that, and I was messaging him in his chat, and people were telling me that my advice to him to do carnivore and not concentrate on working out was dangerous and stupid, and I didn't care for him. And I'm thinking, no, you guys don't understand how dangerous it is for a 750-pound dude to be trying to hit a heavy bag out in the backyard and think that that's going to cure anything. It's just going to make you quit. It's going to make you sick. It's dangerous. Where if you nourish your body and you let your body heal from the inside out, and even if it takes 2 years, you get a little bit better every day. You get that inflammation off you. There's nothing more worse when you're sick than inflammation. That's what's killing you in the short term and the immediate threat. You get that off, you get the extra fluid off you, which is the fastest weight and the fastest relief you can get. So that's what I'm talking about. There's people, and they go, and this is why, I don't know, I'm just getting tired of this propaganda that keeps people don't understand how much of this really is well constructed by big food and big pharma to push these things. The eat less and move more thing really is propaganda. We will do that. That'll come naturally. But when you're healthy, if you put your health ahead of it and the proper human diet, this nonsense about calorie restricting and moderation and all that crap, you can't moderate yourself out of a bad diet. But when you're healthy and you nourish your body and you prime and you get healed, your body will automatically moderate. You don't have to worry about it. That's why calories don't matter on carnivore, because when your body's healed, your body's going to take over, and you're never going to eat too much anyways once you're healed.
Todd, earlier when we were talking, you were like, sometimes the answer is to go through. Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. Eat your way through it. Eat the right food through it.
Right.
And then you get the results you need. And then all of a sudden, all these other things will follow. But it is not doing the exercise first. That's what I did. I made that same mistake.
Right. We all did.
Yeah.
We all did 1,000 times over, and it just kept us in bondage and a prison to this thing. And that's why the message of calorie restriction being the number one cure, the message of, just tough it out, and work through it drives me nuts. And this message of maybe this is true, but does it help when somebody is sick and just absolutely being pummeled and so lost they don't know how to get out of this thing? And then you tell them, well, it's because you're an addict, and it's probably because of childhood trauma, and you're not going to you're never going to get free from this. So you have to learn to deal with it. Immediately you just feel all the weight of that, and you're just like, so I'm just going to be broken for forever. And now I just have to learn to be okay with it. And that's what just makes you feel super stuck. Right. Yes. And I believed that for forever until 3.5 weeks into carnivore, when I went, none of my past has changed and none of my circumstances has changed, but the anxiety and depression's gone away. What was that?
Yes. It's infuriating because they could have just told us eat the right foods.
Yeah.
Right. And if a dumb electrician in Montana can stumble across it in 3.5 weeks, do you think that it's an accident that we're not being told?
Exactly.
I don't think so. Which is why I get cranky about it, because I'm like, we should talk about this. This is something we should talk about, because I think the message of calorie restriction is propaganda. I think the message of moderation is propaganda. I think the message of once an addict, always an addict is propaganda. And I think the message of the whale movie where they showed Brandon Fraser eating 7 pizzas out of his fridge or whatever until he threw up in the kitchen, and that's how you get to 600 pounds. That's propaganda. How you get to 600 pounds is by going the commercial route of the medical system, of the drug system, and the standard American diet system. And then you wake up one day and you're insulin resistant and you weigh 600 pounds because you put 30 pounds a year on.
And listen to Todd. He got there.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not like that's proper. He knows what he's talking about because he got there and also lost it.
Right. And I also lost it white knuckling Fast. I lost 300 pounds twice in my life before and 200 pounds twice in my life before by
Starving yourself.
starvation.
Yeah.
Wanted to end everything every time I did that because I was so depressed. And then it came right back on. But you know what I did? What I didn't do both times that I lost 300 pounds and both times I lost 200 pounds when I was doing that. I never started a YouTube channel because I always knew it was coming back. It was white knuckling it. It was just a matter of time before things went off the rail. 6 months into carnivore, I was free finally. And I went, oh, I got to tell people about this. This is finally it. And that's the total difference. And I can't tell you until you're here, but you'll get angry when you find out how the answer was actually very simple and very easy. And you really can.
And Todd, I want to be clear because I saw something about Ozempic. Let's be clear that that's not what you did. You didn't take any of that stuff.
Now, before we get on that topic, I'd like to change the
I'll shut
topic,
up.
please. So, look, I love this conversation, which is why we will be migrating a lot of these types of very, very important conversations to Rumble. And you guys can start by subscribing. Do they use the word subscribe over there? Or is it
for sure. No, you subscribe over at Rumble. Yeah,
Great.
the links are in the description. Come check us out. And pretty soon we're going to drop all the elbows over there where we can get away with it. So
Exactly. But look, this is why we're not shutting up about it. And we tease here on YouTube. We open minds here on YouTube. We discuss and deep dive over there on Rumble. Okay?
For sure.
So support Todd there. He's helping grow first for all of us. And we would appreciate your subscription there. Okay, great.
Absolutely. Appreciate you.
That was great. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, let's have Todd wrap up.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody. It was awesome seeing you guys. We will be back. Oh, are we going to start doing Wednesday interviews, do you think?
Yeah, so I've been discussing this with the team, and I would prefer to keep it nice and flexible so that we can be free to bring on different faces, voices, experts, guests, all of that. But did you have thoughts, Todd?
No, I love it. I just was curious if we should let them know to watch out for Wednesday this week if we're going to do anything.
Oh, right.
Oh, yes. Okay, so I need to confirm with my schedule still, so I don't want to promise anything right now. But what you guys can look forward to is every single Friday. So put it in your calendar.
Put your Bella notifications on.
Oh, thank you, Ray.
There you go. So there you go. We'll probably somewhere in the future we'll be seeing you live on Wednesdays too, but definitely live on Fridays. You can come check me and Lindy and Michael out live on Sundays, 700 plus counting down. And then of course we're always in SBG, which is where we prefer to see all you guys because then we can meet you personally and talk to you and celebrate in your guys' victories because you will get to the finish line there. So we appreciate y'all.
We love you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
SBG Gangsters YouTube family. See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Awesome call.